Sangeeta Saxena, IES Additional Economic Advisor and Director General Service Export Promotion Council, to please present the theme address.
Good morning and very warm welcome. I'm very happy to be here to be representing the Department of Commerce at the Northeast India and the CLMV Business Summit. And as Dr. Gulshan Sharma recalled, that last year, almost about a year back, we had the first such initiative of ICSI and Department of Commerce, and we made a beginning to harness the service sector potential of this region. And this particular event was inaugurated by the Commerce Secretary, and this was followed by many other events, including the one at Imphal in April, where it was Northeast ASEAN Business Meet. Both the events were very well attended by a variety of stakeholders, including the ambassadors from the partner countries. There were ministerial delegations from the partner countries, there were representations from the central government, from the state government, and businesses and academicians. So it was a very, almost a 360-degree kind of a participation as far as this region and the services sector was concerned. All the rich deliberations which took place in this conclave led us to the formulation of a strategy for development and promotion of services exports from the Northeast region. And that action plan was then circulated and amongst all the state governments as well, and has been monitored, is being monitored by the Department of Northeast region. Obviously, this action plan brought together and to harness the potential of the sector because of the inherent advantages that NER has in terms of the high literacy rates, the English-speaking capabilities, the skills which are there, and Dr. Sharma also mentioned about that, the need to further enhance that, and the large international trade, international borders in this region. The organizations of such meets is very much complementary to the role of Department of Commerce, which follows a very multi-pronged approach to boost the exports, especially the services exports. Our efforts have various parameters, various pillars. One is that of negotiating market access. Now, the Department of Commerce does that through market access negotiations at various levels, whether it is a multilateral, plurilateral, or the bilateral. And that is at the WTO, and plurilateral like the RCEP negotiations which are going on, and the bilaterals that we have with each other, with many countries. And India presently has a services agreement with Singapore, Japan, Korea, and Malaysia, and the ASEAN as a bloc. And in fact, Mr. Ravi Kapoor was one of the very dynamic chief negotiators of India, and I have had the good opportunity of working in his team for India-Thailand negotiations and many other negotiations. So there are synergies in boosting the services trade with these countries with whom we've already signed these agreements. The next aspect is about the domestic reforms, and here is that we need to make ourselves competitive domestically. There are many regulatory, many other constraints which are there, which we need to do away with. And Department of Commerce has been engaged in identifying those and advocating those reforms, which is to be taken up with the line ministries. One of the recent initiatives that we've had in this regard is regarding the visa reforms. A lot of our stakeholders talked about the fact that there are issues in e-visas in case of they wanted longer durations, they wanted multiple entries, or at least more than one entry. Then even for medical visa, the issue that there should be e-visas for medical visas as well. So when the Department of Commerce engaged with various other ministries, this is something which came out as a need, and Department of Commerce then put all of these aspects together and prepared a paper which became the basis of Ministry of Home Affairs to take up the wide-ranging visa reforms which they have come out recently. Department of Commerce also provides fiscal incentives in the form of two schemes. There is a manufacturing exports from India scheme, and there is a services exports from India scheme, and also sponsors events like the one which we have done with ICSI, and very soon in the month of April, from 17th to 20th of April, we're also doing a global exhibition on services in Greater Noida. This is one of the unique exhibitions where participants from 70 odd countries come to India, buyers from there come to India, and this is completely focused on the services exports from India. Now, from the multi-sectoral approach that we had last year, in last year's conclave, I'm happy to note that there are two crucial areas which have been singled out, which have been focused upon. That is health and education, and I'm sure Dr. Amartya Sen would be very happy because these are two of the areas which he has been advocating through his lifetime. Now, about healthcare, we all know that India is a hub for medical value travel because we provide quality care at the most competitive costs. And in this regard, I would like to also highlight the initiative of Government of India as well as the Services Export Promotion Council in developing a portal, that is www.indiahealthcaretourism.com, where we have information about 132 hospitals which are JCI and NABH accredited hospitals. We've put together all their details, and we've put the price ranges which are there as far as these hospitals are concerned, what are the specialities that are being offered by these hospitals. In addition, there are links to about 398 NABH accredited and JCI accredited facilities. This also includes about 29 hospitals and institutions which offer wellness and Ayurveda. The information, it's not just information about these hospitals, it is also the information which is, or information regarding what is required before the hospital, any patient goes to the hospital, right from the visa facilitation, and it is in different languages so that we also know which are the, if I'm not comfortable with a particular language, then I can switch over to the other language and find out where those language facilities are available. Apart from this, we also have other things after the post-operative care, the details about the post-operative cares in and around the city. And we've gone into the minute details of what is the kind of transportation which is available, public transport or the taxi services and all. Basically, it is a one-point stop for anyone who is seeking to have medical value treatment in India, right from the beginning till the end. And of course, we also hope that the person who comes here for any such procedures or any such medical interventions then gets well and travels and gets to savor whatever incredible India has to offer. Now, as far as the healthcare is concerned, even the Department of Commerce has been very much aware of the potential which is offered by various countries, the CLMVs particularly, and I would like to inform the House that next week there is a delegation which is being coordinated by Pharmexil along with the Services Export Promotion Council and the EPC, where every element of medical value care, whether it is the pharmaceuticals, the medical devices, or the services in form of the hospitals, all these participants are coming together, and we're going to Myanmar to develop the contacts and the linkages which are going to be developed there. I would also like to, since Dr. Sharma mentioned about the Ayurveda and the impact of Ayurveda, and we're all looking forward to this evening where he's got all of that embedded in the fashion show, in the clothes and whatever, we were waiting for that surprise. I would also like to mention that there has been considerable progress as far as international recognition for Ayurveda is concerned. And here, Switzerland became the first country in the world and the West that through a popular vote and a change in its constitution, it recognized complementary and alternative medicines in its public health system. As you're aware that most of the countries follow, or the insurances which are there are only for the allopathic stream of medicines, not for the alternative medicines. But Switzerland has done that, and they have provided Ayurveda as they have identified Ayurveda for provision and for recognition and training in Ayurveda in Switzerland. So we have also people being trained in Switzerland in Ayurveda as per the mandate or as per the recommendations and standards set by WTO and other such international agencies, which is a huge step as far as recognition of Ayurveda is concerned. And we have been saying to the other countries with whom we have been negotiating that if Switzerland has done that, I'm sure there is a reason why they have done that. They are looking ahead while going back to the roots, of the traditional medicine, and that is we are then asking for other countries to follow suit. One more thing which I'm talking about is about the insurance portability and the requirement for insurance portability from the countries where we are getting the patients. And that includes that insurance which is there in those countries for the patients, that a coverage should be extending to treatment which is done in India as well. That will facilitate the medical value treatment here in India and would be very, very important for the patient seeking such treatment here in India. This morning when I caught my flight from Delhi to Guwahati, I was flipping through the in-flight journal and they talked about the stresses of modern day airlines, with back-to-back schedules, with time zones and changing the people who are working in the airlines industry and their irregular timings, and they said it all leads to stress, it builds up on that stress. And they said that this particular airline has said that we have inculcated organizational practices of including meditation in our organization. So anyone who wants to can enroll in this, and the organization provides for all that, so that they are able to release that stress and go on with their jobs and service the world beautifully. Now, this is something else which, of course, I'm sure my colleagues from Patanjali and other colleagues during the discussions would talk about. But India has been the repertoire of all this knowledge of traditional and ancient wisdom as far as healthcare is concerned, and it is not only the ancient wisdom but as well as modern healthcare. So it's a fabulous coming together of the two eras, if I may say so, of the healthcare, and we are in it. That is probably the reason why we have developed into this medical value travel destination. Now, coming on to education, here again India has been a leader in the higher education, and we have been attracting students from across all over the world. And our own schooling system and college systems have produced leaders both domestically as well as globally. Indian schools too have a great reputation. In fact, anyone who has been through those tough grind of Indian schools, it has been acknowledged very well in the West as well. Now, Northeast India has been endowed with such well-reputed schools and other institutions, and it's ideal place. In fact, I remember in the last conference we had a suggestion that we should be developing that system where students from other countries come here at the school level, they stay in the residential schools, and then they graduate from universities and institutions which are located here. So that is an integrated thing, and finally be ready for the job market. Now, in addition to all of these areas where we have our strengths, the other area is mode 1, what we call it, that is massive open online courses. And India, backed up on the prowess of our computer and IT enabled services, can be the world leader as far as all of this is concerned. So, and lastly, I would like to mention about the Indian teachers. And we have had quality teachers, and that they are in great demand in countries across the world, whether it is the Africa, whether it is the Middle East, and whether it is some of the countries in Northeast Asia as well. And these teachers range from not only the STEM subjects, but also in languages. And Indian teachers are turning out to be very good in teaching languages. Of course, English is one of them, but other languages as well. So we are very happy to note that these two particular areas, education and healthcare, have been chosen as the focus areas in this particular event. And I would be listening to the deliberations very carefully, because this all goes and feeds into the policies which are being formulated by the Department of Commerce and other line ministries at Government of India.